Hello, everybody. We're back with another Core Builder session. Today we have Shakir from Nawa Finance, the newest big DApp on Core. I think around like 50 million TVL already, and you guys just went mainnet like this month. So definitely gaining a ton of traction already. So I'm excited to talk to you about that. For those who don't know about Nawa Finance, and I'll let Shakir explain in a sec, but basically it is a vaults platform with Sharia compliant Reba free vaults. You could earn DeFi yields in a Sharia compliant, ethical way. Shakir, you could probably do a better job explaining it than me, but
Thanks.
let's hear your
Yeah.
explanation.
Thanks for the introduction, Dylan. Very happy to be here, and thanks to the core team for inviting us. So, my name is Shakir, and I am the contributor at Nawa Finance. So, in short, what Nawa Finance is that we are a yields platform for users who want to earn yields using their digital assets like Bitcoin, core tokens, and generate yields on top of these tokens in a Sharia compliant way. So I came from the Web2 fintech background, building Sharia compliant financial technology solutions that were adopted quite well globally, and uh, and I'm excited to bring Sharia compliant finance into the world of Web3. The intent is to unlock a lot more users. So we know that over 2 billion people on Earth are from the Muslim faith, and they require that their financial services that they interact with be Sharia compliant. There's also a huge push for digital assets in the Middle East, specifically the Gulf Cooperation Council region, the GCC region. We speak about UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, so on and so forth. These are countries that takes Sharia compliant finance very seriously. Family offices, high net worth individuals, and even individuals who are interested to invest, they require this Sharia compliance kind of approach when they approach finance or DeFi. So, in short, that is what Nawa Finance is. So, Dylan, if all is good, I'll proceed with my short presentation before we go into the AMA. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So Shakir has a presentation for everybody, so we could really break down what Nala Finance is. Before we get into that,
Yep.
what have been some big milestones so far? So I brought up the big TVL already, so north of 40 million. That's
Yeah.
obviously a big one, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
Has there been anything else that you guys are really excited about that happened so far? Maybe a user count or something?
Yeah, so we launched slightly more than 2 weeks ago, very recent. I think the first big milestone for us was to get our Sharia compliant certification by one of the most renowned Sharia advisor and also certifier globally. It is the first time that they certify a Bitcoin Fi protocol, in this case, now our finance. So that was a long process, requires a lot of hand holding. We're talking about, people who are very conservative, who comes from TradFi, and, introducing them to Web3 technology. So, yeah, we're very grateful that that went well, and we got certified by one of the leading Sharia compliant advisories and certifiers globally. So that's one huge milestone for us. Second is going mainnet itself. We went through multiple rounds of audits with Helborn, our own internal sort of audits, and those are two big hurdles that we had to go through to come in. And also, not only just thinking about launching, we got to also launch with users. So we worked really hard to align, very high net worth individuals, various other protocols who have users who are inclined towards Sharia compliant DeFi, to sort of participate in and deposit to Nawa's vaults the moment that we launch. So what you see today may seem like an overnight success, but there's a lot of work that actually went through behind it, Dylan. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
yeah,
That 40 million
yeah,
TVL doesn't just come out anywhere. So, yeah, officially
yeah.
certified Sharia compliant, all
Right.
the audits underway, live
Yep.
on mainnet, 40 million
Yep.
TVL already. Seems
Yep.
like you guys got it going on. All right, let's see the
Yep.
presentation.
Sure, I'll keep it short. I know because I'm excited to answer Dylan's questions. So here we go. So the purpose is very simple for Nawa Finance. We just want to provide a simple platform for users to get Sharia compliant yields in the world of DeFi. So if you look at the world of DeFi before Nawa Finance, you see, many different protocols offering various types of yields. Some can get really complex, and then for a person who is conscious about Sharia compliance, who doesn't understand the technology, there's so many different terms that are being used that even, it makes people get very confused. So we come in to streamline this whole process for you to get Sharia compliant yields. So when you come to Nawa, you get different types of yields on different types of assets, but rest assured everything is Sharia compliant and certified by one of the best Sharia advisory firms globally. So that is why we exist, and that is our purpose. So when we look at DeFi as a whole, we see DeFi as having three main yield sort of sources, right? The first one being validator staking. So this is where you commit digital assets, like in the case of Core, you commit Bitcoin and Core tokens at the same time to form a vault, to form a validator, and then the validator then validates transactions that happen on the Core blockchain, and in return for running the validator, you get paid, right? You get paid through Core tokens and also transaction fees. So this is one source of yield. You protect a given blockchain, and then through becoming a validator, and then you get rewarded for it. So that's one. And that has no Sharia concerns because there is no lending, and when there is no lending, there is no interest. So we like this, and this is one of our main ways of generating yields right now. The second one is lending and borrowing. When you lend, there will be interest. The way lending is done today, when you look at the likes of Aave or especially or Compound, there is an element of interest because there is lending behind it. So that is a no-go for people who are conscious about Sharia compliance. So we don't touch any lending sort of yield sources. The last one is providing liquidity to DEXs. So for those who are new to the world of DeFi, um, uh, exchanges happen between tokens, right, on decentralized exchanges instead of centralized exchanges. The real difference between a DEX and a centralized exchange like the Nasdaq or NYSE, so on and so forth, or the brokers that tap into them, is that the centralized guys, they run an order book, right? So it's very hard to run an order book efficiently on blockchains. Hence, AMM or DEXs, decentralized exchanges, are created. So every time you swap on a decentralized exchange, essentially what you're doing is you are interacting with a liquidity pool, right? So the liquidity pool consists of two different types of assets. So let's say the liquidity pool consists of USDC and BTC, right? So people provide liquidity into the pool. They put half of their money in BTC and the other half in USDC, and they put both into the pool. So whenever you are swapping with a DEX, you are essentially adding one token and taking away the other. And the algorithms and the mathematics behind the liquidity pool balances it at all times. So if you put up that liquidity into those liquidity pools, you get rewarded in terms of trading fees and some token rewards from the decentralized exchange itself. So that is also another yield source that is Sharia compliant because it doesn't involve lending. You are providing liquidity, you're taking risk, and in return for that risk, you get rewarded with trading fees and also native tokens rewarded to you by the DEX. But for today, where Nawa Finance stands, we only have two vaults, and the two vaults revolve primarily around validator staking on the Core blockchain. We are looking at partnerships with various DEXs on the Core blockchain to launch more vaults around DEX liquidity provisioning yield source. But all in all, no lending, no borrowing, so don't worry about interest. We don't deal with that. So when we look at Sharia compliance, when we get audited by our Sharia compliance auditors, there are three main things that we look at. One is the tokens itself, right? We deal with tokens that are Sharia compliant. So most tokens are Sharia compliant, BTC, ETH, and so on and so forth. The Sharia advisory will mainly looks at these tokens as commodities. So we use them. And tokens that are non-Sharia compliant. So, for example, if it is a token that governs or gets yield from lending and borrowing protocols, then those tokens are not Sharia compliant. So we don't deal with non-Sharia compliant tokens. We generate yields only on Sharia compliant tokens. So that's number one. Number two is the method of yield generation. I think I shared with you. So we avoid lending, we avoid interest totally. We focus on those that do not lend. and generate yields without interest for our users. The third one is we look at counterparties. So, like when we integrate on a blockchain, on a DEX, on a liquid staking protocol, we make sure that they are all audited. There is no lending, traces in the way they operate, and so on and so forth. We make sure that the counterparties are real, they are accountable, and they have been audited primarily. So these are the things that we take very seriously before we launch any vault or on any chain. So here you go. We got certified by Amani Advisors. So Amani Advisors is one of the leading Sharia advisory firms globally. They issued us the certificate of Sharia compliance, or in Arabic they call it fatwa. Very recently, 23rd of April, less than a month ago, because we just went live about 2 weeks plus ago. So they certified our platform to be Sharia compliant. But it doesn't end here. We must always uphold those standards because we get audited by Amani every year, and the certificate gets renewed every year. So if you want to have a look into this certificate, what it says, and so on and so forth, we're fully transparent. You can go on our website, go under audits. There is like a link to our Sharia compliance certificate by Amani Advisors. You can have a look. So high level ops flow of Nawa Finance. So you hold a digital asset like Bitcoin, you come to Nawa Finance. You look at the vaults right now. We have a Bitcoin vault and a core vault. You choose which one you like, which assets based on which assets you have, and then you pick the vault that you want, and then you make a deposit into the vault. It's that simple. Once you deposit, we take care of everything else. We deploy it to where it has to be deployed. We collect your yield. We reinvest your yield, so everything is taken care of. And the next thing you need to do is just whether to decide whether to stay in or to withdraw. That's how simple it is to use Nawa Finance. Just to go deeper into the current vaults that we have, the main one is Solve BTC Core. So we take deposits in Wrap Bitcoin, Solve BTCB, Solve BTC Core. If you have any one of these tokens like Wrap Bitcoin, you can just deposit into this Solve BTC Core vault. And once you deposit into that vault, we convert your whatever form of Bitcoin that you deposit into Solve BTC Core, and it starts generating yield for you from validated staking. And we collect the yield for you. The yield comes in the form of core tokens. We collect it for you. We convert your core tokens that you gained into Solve BTC, more Solve BTC Core. We reinvest it for you so that your assets keep growing in the vault that you deposited in on Nawa Finance. So we primarily generate yields from liquid staking. You can call that liquid staking on core. And also decentralized exchanges. I think I explained this earlier. So I'm going to show you a bit about Nawa Finance, the product itself. So this is how it looks like. You can go to nawa.finance. So yep, Dylan's right. We're at over 40 million US dollars right now in terms of TVL, or assets under management. So this is a Bitcoin vault, Solve BTC Core. You click on it, you can connect wallet, and then you read up how we generate yields, the APY, and then the fee. So we charge fees only on the yield that you create. So we don't charge fee on your initial capital. So your initial capital is sort of protected. We only charge fees on the on the yield that is generated. So if you generate 2% per annum on your Bitcoin, we are only going to take 0.2% of the yield. That's all, right? That's all that we're taking from you. We're not taking from your capital, just on the yield that we generate for you. So yep, you can come in here, you choose which token that you have. I think most of you might have Wrap Bitcoin. You can deposit, and then we do everything else for you. And then you can withdraw anytime. There is no lockup period or anything like that. So that's how Nawa Finance works. Have a look after the webinar. The last part, I'm just going to keep it very brief, just so you know what actually happens to your Bitcoin once it goes into our vaults. Don't be afraid of the words. I'm just going to walk you through very slowly and simply. You go to our website, you choose the vault that you want, you deposit a form of Bitcoin, like Wrap Bitcoin, into our vault. We have a Zap feature that zaps your Wrap Bitcoin, converts your Wrap Bitcoin into the target token, in this case, Solve BTC Core. We do that automatically for you. And then once you are in Solve BTC Core, yields start to be generated for yourself. um, and then and then whenever we collect your yields, I think the yields currently comes once a month. We collect the yield for you in the form of core. We sell it for soft BTC core. We add the new soft BTC core into your holdings, so your holdings of soft BTC core will grow over time. And yeah, that's essentially how it works behind the scenes. And we only take our fees from the core tokens that we generate for you. We don't take your Bitcoin, right? Whatever that you put in, it stays there. We only charge fees on the yield, the core tokens that we generate for you. So yeah, so when we launch our vaults that point towards liquidity provisioning to DEXs, works very similarly. We zap your token into the target token, and we deploy it to DEXs like Encore. Bitflux is quite popular. Glyph is popular too. So we deploy it into one of the vaults or liquidity pools for you on these decentralized exchanges, and you start earning yields. So essentially, that's how we work behind the scenes. Very simple, and we are very transparent about how things work at Now Finance. Dylan, that's the end of my presentation.
All right. Thank you very much for presenting that here. Okay, yeah. So basically, the quick recap is for those who want to earn Sharia compliant yields, they can easily do so with Nawa, one click access. All you're doing is putting your wrapped Bitcoin or your Sol BTC inside of this vault, and then Nawa Finance takes care of the rest. You auto convert it to solbtc.core and then Sol Protocol. They basically stake it to a validator while you guys hold the solbtc.core. Then you guys go and get the yield, all the profits coming from the validators, not from lending or anything, just coming from securing the network. And you auto compound it back into the vault so the user is earning even higher yields, correct?
Yep, you got it on the dot. Yeah, awesome.
All right, perfect.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I love just the simplicity of it. That like yeah, I feel like even even like my mom, I could just be like, all right, just use Now Finance. Like just click the button and then just get the yield.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope so. Cool.
Yeah, so I do. So you're talking about how like the two ways to earn Shirai compliant yields are the staking and then providing liquidity to DEXs, right?
Yep.
And you said you're working with some DEXs in the core ecosystem to see if you guys could also earn yield through liquidity provision. So I kind of want to ask more about that. See, I don't know, is there any plans in the works right now? Can you give me any alpha on that front?
Yeah, so based on our conversations with users, we've got Bitcoin covered, we've got core covered. Users are asking us for stablecoin yields generated on stablecoins. So that is a bit challenging because we cannot deploy our users' funds into like a lending and borrowing protocol, which would have been easy. I think Coland is generating like 12% on stables right now, but we can't do that
Right.
because it's lending and there's interest. So then it leaves us only one option, which is to deploy stable coins into DEXs. And we're trying to find the right partner that has sort of the stable coin kind of trade volume that generates enough fees, that generates enough yield for liquidity providers. So that's the situation right now, and that's sort of our focus. I think if we were to launch a new vault next, it's going to be a stablecoin vault. With whom we partner, that's going to be announced. Yeah.
All right. All right. I'm excited for that announcement.
Awesome.
So back to the protocol.
Yeah.
So you said there was a 10% withdrawal fee, but just on the yield gain. So just on the profits, basically, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then is there any lockup period for taking your tokens out of the vault?
Yeah, good question. So there is no lockups on the Bitcoin vault. For the core dual core vault that we also have, there is two ways to withdraw: a normal and an instant withdrawal. Normal and instant withdrawal. So if you go for normal withdrawal, there is a 24-hour unbonding period, and then there is no fees there. But if you want instant withdrawal, you can. There is that option for instant withdrawal for the core vault. But when you do an instant withdrawal, there is a 10% charge on your withdrawn amount. So this is a logic that we inherited because we partnered with B14G for our core vault, and that is a logic that we inherited from B14G. So it's got to do with something about liquidity and so on and so forth. and that's why B14G has those fees. But all in all, you can withdraw anytime. But for the core vault specifically, there is that fee on instant withdrawal. But I suggest if you can wait 24 hours, then you wait so that you don't have to pay the 10% fee on your deposit amount or withdrawal amount. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So there
Yeah.
is a withdrawal fee only if you want instant withdrawals from the
Core
dual
vault.
core vault.
Yeah,
Got
dual
it.
core vault. Yeah.
So then for the yield generation, what is the yield denominated in? Like when you take the tokens out, what do you get back? Solve BTC.core
Yes, you get solvebtc.core, which is 1 to BTC. Yeah,
plus the yield. Perfect.
correct. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about core and Bitcoin DeFi. So I don't know. First, I guess Bitcoin DeFi. You know why this platform built around Bitcoin? I mean, you don't have to sell me on it. I'm the Bitcoin
Yeah.
DeFi guy, but like for everybody watching,
Yeah.
just explain to them why you choose Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So I think we all agree that Bitcoin is the most popular digital asset worldwide. Um, most institutions, most family offices, high net worth individuals, and individuals who are in crypto, they first got to know about crypto through Bitcoin, right? So it is an asset that people are very familiar with. They've heard enough, and also the capital markets outside of Web3 has also legitimized Bitcoin. You see a lot of Bitcoin ETFs, so on and so forth. So the demand or the number of people, serious people holding Bitcoin is huge. And now they're just sitting on it, right? They're not earning anything on it. They leave it behind in a centralized exchange or in their cold wallets, and nothing is happening. So we feel that it's quite a there is we can get the product market fit really quickly by offering yields on Bitcoin versus yields on other newer tokens. So that is what really attracted us towards the Bitcoin Fire ecosystem. I hope that answers your question, Dylan.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Most popularity, most
yeah,
accepted, SHRI
yeah,
compliant.
yeah,
So then I guess that brings me to my next question of why
yeah.
Core as the Bitcoin DeFi blockchain that you guys decided to build on. Give me like the whole rundown from like your initial starting of now to how you got connected with Core, why you chose Core. I need to
Yeah,
know all the history.
awesome. So I think we explored a few Bitcoin sort of L1s or Bitcoin aligned L1s or L2s. But I think many other Bitcoin ecosystems, L1s or L2s, they are too technically focused that they forgot about the market, right? Like they're trying to make it more and more and more efficient, but they forget about how are people going to put their Bitcoin to use, right? On this given ecosystem. So we feel that Core balances that really well. Core has a very strong, infrastructure on the, by being aligned with Bitcoin, yet being EVM compatible. But at the same time, the ecosystem team to me and core ventures overall they're very savvy. They look at dapps like Nawa Finance or many other dapps that are already on core that really can bring the utility of Bitcoin into the core ecosystem. So I think I like that savviness on the market, right? Not just on the technology. And that is the main reason that I think I'm personally attracted to the core ecosystem.
All right. Yeah, I hear that similar a lot from a lot of builders. They're like, the eco team has been great for us, and you guys got the users and the low fees.
Yeah,
Like, they want the
yeah,
users. They want people using the platform. So
exactly. Yeah,
that's exciting. And
yeah.
then I guess, yeah, what are some of the advantages of building on core? Just like you talked a little bit about like the low fees and stuff, but I don't
Mhm.
know how has it helped besides just like the eco team being really helpful and the users?
Yeah, so I think from a product standpoint, Core's approach towards how it secures its blockchain through the dual staking mechanism. So for those of you who are unacquainted about this, for you to run like a validator on Core, you need to deposit both Bitcoin and Core tokens, right? And there is like a ratio to it. Like for every one Bitcoin, you got to deposit like 24,000 Core for you to optimally run a validator. So that security mechanism gives rise to a good way of generating sustainable yields. So to me, that is like the main point that really makes it very clear why we should build on Core. We help to secure Core blockchain, but at the same time, we also get rewarded. Our users get rewarded. Um, and also Core already had integrations from very strong protocols. So we are partnered up with Soft Finance and also with B14G, solid like protocols that helps make it easier for dapps like us to build on Core. They've built the hard things, and we come in and put in a layer where we ride on what they have to sell it to the market that we are targeting to. So these two factors together makes building on Core really good for us. Yeah.
All right, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I didn't even think about that. How like
Yeah.
the other dApps already on core, help you guys to be able to make your dApp better, like connecting to B14G, like you were saying. That's a good point that I didn't even think about.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So what about for the devs out there? Since this is a developer stream, can you tell us
Mhm.
anything about like the core's tools they offer, like from a builder standpoint, and how that's helped at all?
Yeah. So I think Core has a very strong DevRels team. They've helped us whenever we have questions and stuff like that. Um, you know, Core came in with recommended RPC stack, recommended wallet integrations, and also it makes it very easy for us to ensure that all our contract interactions are optimized for gas and user experience within the course EVM compatible environment. So I would say I don't think there's even any problems. Like we've never had problems. There's sufficient docs and all of that, and the DevRels team is always there. So it was been a pleasure building on Core so far.
All right, great. Yeah, it's great to hear
Yeah,
about the docs are looking good because I know all the builders on here are always talking about the EVM compatibility. They're like, that's
yeah,
huge for us. That's
that's
massive.
huge. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear the DevRel's been helping you guys out too. Putting
yeah,
on this stream, things like that. So yeah, they're always looking to support the different builders.
awesome.
And then to get the core Toshi's hype, all the core listeners, what contributions are you guys now finance going to bring to BTC Fi? I mean, it's kind of obvious if you guys can get 2 billion people on core, but I'll let you take the floor with that and explain how Nawa helps core.
Yeah, okay, that's a great question. So, I think that's the intent. We want to bring as many people into this. I see that Core already has a lot of users. There are communities in Nigeria, in Pakistan, Indonesia. These are countries where people really care about Sharia compliant finance. So we're gonna go work on these markets and bring as many people in. We're going to need the help of every protocol that we're working with, and even those that we're not working with, and also the core supporters right now in those regions and those countries. Let's be ambassadors of what we have, because there are, I would say, 2 billion people out there. And then I would say these countries are also very underserved by TradFi, traditional finance. So we have the solutions here. All they need is internet and like a MetaMask wallet, or any wallet, any browser wallet, any mobile app wallet that can interact with EVM chains like Core, load it up with Bitcoin or Core, and they can start using, right? And we can tell them like, hey, look, this thing is Sharia compliant, it's halal, and you can start using it. I think that's what we want to contribute to Core, bring as many people as possible. This is on the numbers side, right? These huge markets, they need this product to be Sharia compliant. We have the product for them, and we're just going to go out there and bring them in. But also on the TVL side, right? So when we recently had Token 2049 in Dubai, we met with many private banks, family offices, high net worth individuals who are very excited that we are talking about Sharia compliance and DeFi, because right now, if you look at the news, gold is going up in price, right? But gold is old school. The future is in Bitcoin, and people are buying into Bitcoin. You see a lot of institutional flows into Bitcoin, but then we're telling these people like, hey, you guys need it to be Sharia compliant, right? Yeah, we have that solution for you, right? So we also want to focus on institutional funds coming into Core, driving up TVL overall, making you know you know the ecosystem look more attractive with having higher TVLs and users at the same time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're getting me excited with these Token 2049 talks going down with the institutions
Yeah.
and the family offices. It
Yeah.
just seems like such an underserved market. Like there's billions of people who, want to get into Bitcoin, want to earn yield on their Bitcoin, and there's really
Exactly.
just been no option for them in the past. So yeah,
Exactly.
I'm very excited for
Yeah.
you're talking about how going out and getting millions of people from all over the world
Yeah.
onto Nawa, which is getting them onto
Yeah.
Core. I mean, I
Yeah.
know the Core community is going to be excited to back you guys and just
Yeah.
push the good word along with you. The Core community, they're
Exactly.
they're crazy. So like, I'm sure they'll be out there on Twitter like pushing the word of Nawa. So it's
Yeah,
going to
we
be
should
exciting.
do. We should do some country region specific campaigns. I think we will do that soon. So we activate our core ecosystem users to sort of be our ambassadors. Yeah, that's a great idea, Dylan.
Oh,
We'll
they'll
do
be
that
out
soon.
there.
Yeah.
They'll gladly be out there.
Yeah. Exciting.
Yeah, seriously. All right, so let's talk about some of the challenges, I guess, with building. Since this is a builder session, we're trying to drop the knowledge for all the different devs that might be watching.
Yeah.
What were some challenges that you faced along the way that you had to overcome? How did it happen? Did you see it coming? I don't know. Give us the whole breakdown of like not just the great parts, but like how it
Mm,
was probably hard to actually get to where you are now, and because it's not as easy as you're making it seem. I'm sure.
yeah. Uh, to be honest, it was quite smooth. I'm struggling to think about the challenges on the technical side, because we had direct connections. We were introduced to not only the DevRels team in core, we also were put in touch with the B14G team, Solve team. I think this is the unique part. I know you would love for us to go into the technical side of things, but I think it's the human side of things that make the technical side of things easy. um, I think the builders in core is a very tight knit community, and I can attest to that. So every time we were ensure there was no such thing as like a dumb question. Our devs have direct connection to the devs at core itself, um, solve finance, and also B14G. And because of those human connections, we never had any issues. So yeah, I think I hope that helped answered the question. There's really no technical challenges to think of,
That
right?
that's honestly the
Yeah,
best answer.
yeah,
If you're like,
yeah,
hey, the dev team
yeah,
helped out so much and got us in contact with everybody, it really was a simple process. I mean, I guess that is what we want the builders to hear. If we're trying to get them to
yeah.
build on core, so I like that
And it's
answer a
honest.
lot.
I'm not trying to cover anything up. Like that's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah,
Hey, you hear that, guys?
yeah,
You build on
yeah,
core, there's no
yeah.
challenges.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're building something crazier than now, then it's probably you're gonna face more challenges. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you talked about integrating with Dexes
Yeah.
on core, but are there any other upcoming features you guys are looking to implement? Any enhancements to be to Nawa?
Yeah, I think the current format of Nawa, the user interface is rather tailored towards Web3 users, which is fine for a start because we're looking at people who are holding Rep Bitcoin and so on and so forth. So they must be Web3 natives. But as we scale beyond the Web3 natives, beyond the core ecosystem, into users who are interacting with DeFi for the first time, I think the UI needs to be more Web2-ish, right? But so maybe in a very recent future, what you'll see probably is two different interfaces. One is the interface that you're saying today, connect wallet, blah blah blah. But we'll also do like a dumbed down version, like a simple version, like for Web2 people, right? Like sign in, social sign in, creating a wallet for them without them really creating a wallet, and then more on ramps so that they can get involved a lot easier. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just making the user experience all better.
Yeah.
So then also give me like the long term vision for Nawa Finance. Like we're 5, 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
Hopefully we got the 2 billion onboarded.
Yeah.
But what is like the North Star, like the big picture for Nawa down the line? Break it down for me what you'd want it to look like in the future.
Yeah, so we're building Nawa Finance to be the primary engine for Sharia compliant yields in DeFi worldwide. So it's not just our interface that is going to be the engine that is onboarding people, right? We are also talking to fund managers. These are Web2 guys, TradFi guys, who manage a lot of money, who has a lot of client base. They have the distribution. So we're going to these guys saying that, hey, look, we have a Sharia compliance certified way of generating yields on chain, right, on Bitcoin. So now I want you to use this engine to build real world sort of funds. You call it mutual funds or ETFs in any part of the world. right? But using Nawa as the engine to generate these yields. So we want to be the engine that powers every single application fund out there that is in the space of Sharia compliant finance. So if there's anyone selling Sharia compliant mutual funds, ETFs, or debts in a specific country, if they want to do it to be Sharia compliant, at the back of it, we want it to be Nawa Finance. So the number one North Star for us is TVL. We have a stretch target. We want to be at $1 billion in about a year's time. It is really a stretch target for us, but that's our North Star, TVL.
Oh man, the $1 billion TV on the year, that would be insane. I love it though.
Yeah.
I love it. It could happen.
So
There's a big market for this. And I also love
true.
that to hear that you guys are trying to power the Sharia compliant like structured products because Core is trying to power like all the US ETFs, things like that, all the structured products
True.
over here. So then if we have
Yeah.
Core powering like the US structured ETFs and now powering the Sharia compliant structured products, we'll just
Yeah.
power all of them. It'll all be powered by Core. That'll be
Let's go.
perfect. That's the plan. And the 1 billion
Yeah.
TVL, let's do it.
Cool.
All right. So to wrap up,
Yeah.
what are your advice for developers looking to build on Core? How do they even get started? As someone who has a full DApp on here, they got 40 million TVL in 2 weeks. What's your
Yeah.
advice to all the devs watching?
Yeah. I think um, just start and build, right, and get traction. However small that traction is, I think not just Core, but many other ecosystems. They get a lot of projects really coming to ecosystems, talking about different things that they want to build, but very few come with some commitment, right? That's something that they've already built. They've got some traction. I think if you can show a bit of that, an ecosystem like Core will really take you seriously and drive things forward. So I've met a lot of devs who recently in Token 2049 asking about how they should start building, and then I asked them, how long have you been talking about this? Like 6 months. I was like, okay, have you built something? No, right? So I was like, just build it and then just push it out, get your first 100 users and then go to the ecosystem like Core and they will gladly help you out. Like just get started and build something. Yeah.
Right. Just get started, get something going, get some traction, come to the
Yeah.
dev team, let them know, and they'll help you out.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that advice a lot. All right. So just to recap, if you're looking for Sharia compliant yields, now is literally the platform to do so. They're shooting for 1 billion TVL one day, hoping to power the future of Sharia compliant structured products as well. Thank you so much, Shakir, for talking to me. This is a great stream.
Thank you, Dylan.
Let's do this again
It's been a
soon.
pleasure.
That was awesome.
All right. Take
Indeed.
care. Thanks,
All
guys.
right, have a good day, man. Thank you to everybody
Bye-bye.
watching. We'll be back soon with another stream. We do this all the time, guys. So make sure to tune in the next one. Thanks for
Cool.
watching. All right,
Bye.
have a good day, everybody.